Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Hockey Journey podcast, episode number 14, the Don Olivett Hockey Journey, presented to you by OnlineHockeyTraining.com. I'm your host, Coach Lance Pitlick. If you're new here, please make sure you subscribe so you won't miss out on any future episodes. Before we begin, if you want to learn more about me, my hockey experiences, what I know, and most importantly, how I've been helping hockey players get really good with a stick and puck, just head on over to OnlineHockeyTraining.com and gain instant access to my 10-part video series where I'll show you everything. Consider it my gift to you. I can't tell you enough how excited I am for this next interview, as this individual changed my life. One thing in all sports, not just hockey, that's not talked about enough is what's going on between an athlete's ears, your brain, and all the thoughts that populate that space over the course of a season. My thoughts became a problem my first year pro, where I was swimming in a pool of negativity and I couldn't shake it, and it was noticeably affecting the way I played. This man taught me how to manage my thoughts in a more positive way, and over time became my foundation and the only reason I achieved what I achieved. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me in welcoming Don Olivett to the show. Ollie, welcome to the Hockey Journey podcast.
Thanks, Pitt. God, I can't believe it's been over almost 30-some years that we worked together. I was taller and had hair, and now I'm shorter and getting older.
Well, like I said before, I think once we get to 50 years old, we just put ourselves in a holding pattern, and that's where you've always stayed. You've unchanged. You're the same person when we speak that I spoke with, like you said, over 30 years ago. So thank you for being here. You did teach me so much, and it made my journey as a hockey player easier. And I was just so grateful that I was introduced to you, who was by a guy named Tim Tukey. So I want to start, Ollie, by first, just what are your recollections? Like, what was our first meeting like, and how did you assess me, and how were you going to go about helping me?
Well, my motto is a good coach can make you a better player. A great coach can make you a better person. And that doesn't matter who you are. You always have a good coach that can make you work harder and stuff like that and do the things. But a great coach is going to make you, both on the ice and off the ice, a better person. And I remember you coming to me and Tukes, and boy, I'm thinking, what can I do with these guys? And as I started talking to them, I realized, whether you're professional level, college level, high school level, everybody has their challenges, and everybody's a puzzle. And my goal is not to change you. My goal is the only one who can motivate you and light your fire would be you. And knowing a little bit about your background, on the Olympic team and at being a Badger, and of course I'm Penn State territory out here in Pennsylvania, but thinking about, if you come to me, that means you're willing to change. If I come to you, then I'm forced upon you. And my goal is not to tell you if you do it this way, you're going to be a better athlete. My goal is to take the athlete and say, you're a puzzle. And how, excuse me, it's springtime in Pennsylvania. And how do we take that puzzle, which is unique to you, unique to Tooks, unique to you, and how do I put you together to be the best player you can be? And can I share the story about being up in Rochester?
Yeah. This is the tough love story.
Tough love story, but it's true. Got a phone call on Saturday afternoon, and it was a hockey player that we both know, and he was really saying, F this and that, and little adult conversations about not playing, down in the dumps, very negative, hate the game, hate this. And I just listened to that player rant a little bit. And I recall this distinctly, like it happened a couple months ago. And I just made a comment to you. How are you going to feel when you quit the game you love? How are you going to feel a year from now when you quit the game you love, but more importantly, how you going to feel tomorrow morning when you quit the game you love. You know, that's your choice. Now, with a negative attitude, I can't change that, but you're not going to play for another week or 2 weeks. It doesn't matter. But all you can do is reframe to the positive. And I remember just listening to you go on a little bit. Then all of a sudden I said, you know, Lance, well, left the guy's name in there. It's your choice. And I hang the phone up.
Yeah, I was hoping you were going to say that you hung the phone up, because that's what you did. And I was like, what the heck?
And when it was really funny. The only reason I hang the phone up is you call me Colette. So
that's a true story too.
But over my career, I probably worked with maybe 50 guys in the National Hockey League, and I realized each one has an individual story, and each one has an individual journey to get to the show. And listen to Tukes to get that one game. Terrence Sandwith called me one time, and he said, "Oh, I got my one game in the National Hockey League," and these guys, you work so hard to get there, and it's even with young girls, you know, to get on the high school team, to get on the college team, to get on the Olympic team, to get on whatever the team is. And it doesn't matter the sport, whether it's basketball, football, hockey, the theme is always the same. And it's how your head goes, the body follows. So if you look at your head, sometimes, you know, you have coaches after a game, they said, I don't know what we were thinking out there tonight. I don't know where our head was. And they never address the mental part. Even though they're describing it, they never describe or have you work on the head part. They make you go out and do more drills, this over and over again, but they never sit down and talk about the head.
Absolutely.
The 3 pounds between your ears. And the smart coach will sit down and know the hot button with each one of the players. So that's where I come in. I've been affectionately known as a head coach. Not head coach, but a head coach. Yeah. And as an athlete, I wasn't the greatest, the biggest, the tallest, and the smartest, whatever. But I learned to work with athletes and find out what they needed to be the best that they can be. I'd worked with a guy on the Olympic pistol team, and he was always winning the gold medal in pistol. And everybody would do the same thing that he did. They would all work out, same equipment, deep breath, squeeze the trigger, but he was always getting the bullseye. And I remember asking him, I said, what do you do differently than anyone else? And he said, Ollie, I shot on the off heartbeat. And I said, the off heartbeat? He said, oh yeah, I learned to calm my body down. Okay, you can do that in archery and pistol and in rifle, but in hockey, it's controlled aggression. You want to get your energy to work for you. So it's a little different mindset, but it still comes down to focus. Like he shot the bullseye, off heartbeat. When I work with athletes on hockey, when they tell me they're going to score through the 5-hole or whatever, I want them to think of the twine behind the goalie. The goalie doesn't exist. Okay, so when you go in on the goalie, you want that puck to go where you want it to go. Very zen. Zen is if you take the stick, the puck, and yourself as 3 integral parts, you make that puck go where you want it to go. And once that puck leaves your stick, the only thing you can do is reframe and get ready for the next play.
Yep.
A lot of guys will, you know, they'll get involved and they get mad and they go over and they slam their stick. Well, okay, you can do that. I understand that. But you want to get that energy to work for you. Does that sort of make sense?
Oh, it totally does. So when you're talking about the pistol person, one other thing as an add-on is talk about the importance of exhaling, because I think I read something where they shot whatever they were shooting in between heartbeats and also when they were exhaling. Because I get a lot of kids that when they shoot pucks, their face this crunches up, and everything's tight.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move that out before a game, and then we'll go into a game. Have you ever, big games coming up, and all of a sudden you get really tense, and you can maybe go back to Pee Wee when you got so tense you grab the stick like it weighed 40 pounds.
Oh, nervous.
You're nervous. Yeah, you're clutching your lips, your teeth are tight, your heart is pounding like unbelievable. And then, guess what? You have to go to the bathroom, and you're gripping the tight stick. Well, the secret, and we all do this, is to learn how to do some breathing exercises. So the first thing I'd like an athlete to do is take 3 deep breaths. Take a deep breath, hold it, and let it out. Just take a deep breath. Deep breath, hold it, let it out. You do that 3 times, you'll calm down. The other night I was talking to Tukes, and I said, hey, Tukes, I want you to make your knuckles, and you can do this right now, and anyone listening to this podcast, just grab your knuckles and make a fist as tight as you can. Look down at your knuckles so they're white knuckles, really tight. Now, there's a little mosquito going around, and I want you to try to grab that mosquito. Try to grab it with your hand. It's really hard because you're tense.
Yeah.
If you relax, okay, shake your hands. Shake your hands. Now here comes that mosquito again. Now try to grab that mosquito.
I feel like the Karate Kid now.
He had more skill.
It's amazing. In doing these interviews, I mean the stories, and there's just so much, Ollie, that is out there that you can use to optimize yourself. It's crazy. Back when I was playing, you didn't have the internet, you didn't have YouTube to search.
Right.
How did you get involved in this? Like, who was your first client?
It's really amazing. I started at the top. I had, for those you guys are Minnesota, but I happen to be I love the Philadelphia Flyers, and having been there in the beginning, and I got talking to a guy who knew a guy who knew a guy, and all of a sudden I got a couple players at a Flyer banquet that came over and started talking to me, and I can't name names, but they said, "Wow, can we talk to you? Can we work with you?" One of the amazing things is I find the players think the team should pay for it, and the team thinks the players should pay for it, and it became like an interesting situation. But if I help one person, he'll say, "Hey, you should talk to this guy," and one of the things, it becomes word of mouth, and over 30 years, you become known as the head coach. And I take that with a little bit of pride, because it doesn't matter who the athlete is. It doesn't matter what the game is. It's all the same thing. It's the mental, and how that head goes, the body follows. Once I started working with the players, one would add to another, and it became diverse. I mean, archery. In fact, now we do it with all our archers on the Olympic team. The archers, pistol and rifle, they all shoot on that off heartbeat. They learn to calm themselves down. And, that little centimeter off the muzzle at the other end could be another couple of centimeters. So it really is calming you down. That's sport. But it's still learning to play within yourself. For example, did you ever get run into the boards where you got hurt? Did you?
A couple times, maybe.
Okay. The majority of the times are if you stiffen up, you tend to get dinged. But if you go with the flow and they take you into the boards, chances are you're gonna skate away in one piece. It's almost like the knuckles with the the mosquito going around. If you're in the zone, you're in the flow and going with it, you're relaxed. and you don't take that brunt. One of the things that I had worked with a lot of Olympic athletes, and what they always tell me, they come back from a camp and they give them a 15-inch binder on peak arousal states and zone and peak performance states, and if you do this and do that. And the majority of athletes that I work with, they only want to do one thing: play to the best of their ability. That's the only thing they want to do. How do I get better? Don't make it complex. So if I can just skate into this, you can interrupt me anytime, but I came down with three things: Mandy Moan, Jack, Father, Son, Holy Ghost, Three Bears, Three Stooges, on your mark, set, go, ABCs. And I thought, well, why are we giving people all these different things to do? Let's keep it very simple. ABC. It's not D, E, F, G. Let's think about three very simple things. So the number one thing I came up with is focus. Have you ever had a bad game? I don't care if it's, American Hockey League, National Hockey League, Olympic team, or high school, or Pee Wee, or midgets. It doesn't matter. Have you ever had a game that sort of stood out in your head?
Several.
Several. Okay. There's one that it comes to mind that if I took you right back to that episode, you'd relive the entire game. And you know what? When you're not focused, you're out there on the ice and you look at the clock and only 2 minutes have gone off the clock, and you're absolutely, my God, this your skates feel like they're 15 pounds each. You're gripping your stick, and you can hear mom and dad screaming in the stands, or that one fan yelling at you, what are you doing out there? And it really ends up being you become into what we call a slump.
Yeah, it's just a chain of reaction of events that just keeps on piling on itself.
Yeah. Well, interject me. I get a little wound up here, so.
No. One thing that popped into my head is just about focus and being relaxed. Is you're a runner still, aren't you? I remember reading something on a study done on the world's fastest sprinters, and they have something that's called fish face, where they're totally relaxed. Their jaw just going. It's crazy. Just these little. A tenth of an improvement or something is a gold medal. In a lot of cases.
It is. The secret is once you have speed, you have to learn to relax. And so your jaws, you want them to float up and down. That way you're breathing. Wow, didn't we discuss about that? If you're not playing well, you forget to breathe. The secret is once you get speed and getting up, you want to, you relax. Elbows in, cheek to cheek, and you pump your arms. So it becomes very mental. If you take a track, and you're running the 400 meters, the first 100 meters you're into it, second 100 meters you're going down, you go, this is, now I'm into the race, but the third 100 meters are on that curve coming around, now it's starting to hurt a little bit. And the secret is once I have speed, you have to breathe. You'll see the guys finishing, or ladies finishing the 400 meters, at 380 meters, they start binding up, they start tensing up. Why? Because they lose they're losing their flow, they're not breathing, they're tightening up. You can see their hands gripping, and usually they get past at the end. And it's, if you break it down into little segments, one of the things I find with coaches is a good coach is normally not from being a great athlete. A great athlete can have all the skill, but as he goes into coaching, he doesn't know how to communicate. And I think if we do another episode, I'd like to talk about the great coaches you've worked for and some of the challenging coaches. We can't change what they say to us, but we can change one thing, is how we receive that message. And I distinctly remember one of the things I worked with you is a lot of visualization techniques. There's a great story with Tukes. And Good coaches know how to reach each one of your team members, and that's what you talked about the other night about Paddock. So
You you're going to be a reoccurring guest on this show because we haven't even scratched the tip of the iceberg yet of everything that you can offer to people. How to deal with pregame jitters, techniques on how to get out of a slump, relaxation tips, positive self-talk, reframing negativity, just to mention a few.
yeah.
The last question that I have
hmm
for you is one of the techniques that you taught me called anchoring.
hmm
And I remember having a couple words on the inside of my gloves that if I had a tough shift or whatever and I was drifting into negativity, I'd go down there and anchor myself. And then you also taught me how to make a highlight movie that when I wasn't feeling very good, I could replay that, and things always changed for the better. So talk a little bit about anchoring and
Yeah, anchors are become very important to an athlete. You ever see girls on the Olympic gymnastic team? They all have teddy bears. If you ever have a great game, you know what? You won't wash your socks. You won't change that routine. Does that make sense?
oh, yep.
Yeah, because you anchor yourself into those external things. Okay, and they're very representational to you on what you have just gone through, and it was positive. So you want to recreate that. And the secret is whatever you need, whatever works for you. Anchoring everybody does it. It's totally incredible what athletes do, what they come up with, and whatever works for you. Some guys have them put FCF in their hockey sticks or on the water bottles. I think at Hershey we put FCF on the water bottles, which meant focus, confidence, but the most important thing, have fun. So anchoring are terrific. We do it all the time. You go out on a date or whatever, you take her to the same nice restaurant. And those things are extremely powerful throughout our life. And did you ever have an anchor that you got into, that you used all the time?
Oh, absolutely. I still, to this day, I do. Because it's crazy how, if you can learn how to manage what's going on in between your ears,
Mm-hmm.
it's a powerful machine, the brain is, and it can be very difficult
Mm-hmm.
at times. But it's, I guess in my life experience at, mid 50s, I still haven't mastered it. I still have days that, I don't get what I want to get done because of self-defeating thoughts, but I guess we're all works in progress, aren't we, Ollie?
Well, if you think of the way our society is set up, they tell you to go down 5 red lights and make a right. Well, what happens if they're green? Or, you look at the sunshine, 30% chance of rain today. Well, how about 70% chance of a beautiful day? Those reframes are important as anchors. You anchor yourself in excellence. You can wear the same socks or whatever, same routine. You'll have the same meal. You'll have your same nap. When things aren't going well for you, we talked about a videotape. Young kids today, if you have access to a great game that you had, that you played, watch that over and over again, because it's not Wayne Gretzky doing it. It's not Lance Pitlick doing it. It's you doing it. So you watch yourself and you'll pick up little things about yourself that, I'm not doing this. And when you go to the rink, I want to bring this up, go out on the rink and work on your weaknesses. So many times I see athletes do the same thing over and over and over again, and they wonder why they don't get better. Well, work on your weaknesses. You do those little things and all of a sudden you become the complete player. Stephen Covey in his book, Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, if you do the same thing for 21 days, it'll become a habit. because there'll be games where you go back to things you did 4 or 5 years ago and you wonder, why are those things surfacing now? And why they're surfacing now is because you didn't work on them. You didn't work on overcoming them. How you practice is how you're going to play. I don't care who you are. Basketball, football, hockey, anything that you do, it's how you practice. And the guy that beat you last week, you know what? He's still out there working. He's out there the first one on the rink in the morning. He's the last one to leave. He's the one helping the younger ones coming up. High school seniors, take the freshmen under your wing. Make them feel part of the team. But I could go on and on. So.
That's a perfect segue. This is going to be fun, Ollie. I'm so glad that we've reconnected, and it's, over 30 years since we've seen each other, but we haven't, seen each other since my birthday. But it's like a moment hasn't gone by when I get on the phone with you or have a chat. Mm-hmm. So we are going to do this again. I think this is going to be awesome for people to tap into focus, confidence, fun, puzzle pieces. You can't change me, only I can change me. Ollie, thank you for your wisdom and being able to share this with our listeners, because I think it's going to be really well received.
Well, thank you, Pip. But also remember, there is no failure, only feedback.
Ain't that the truth? So, Ollie, man, You have a great day. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you soon.
Thank you, Pitt. Have a great day.
Well, that concludes another episode of the Hockey Journey podcast. As I mentioned, Mr. Olivett will be a reoccurring guest on the show, talking about a wide variety of topics that hopefully will make you a better you by thinking in a more constructive and positive way. He's got a lot of amazing strategies to help athletes, so I look forward to our future chats down the road. Focus, confidence, fun. 3 important words for anyone that's on a journey. If you're interested in working with the Ollie Man, shoot me an email at goals@onlinehockeytraining.com and I'll make sure to get you connected with him. I can't thank you enough for stopping by and listening. I hope you enjoyed the interview with Don. What great messaging. I love this guy. If you think there's someone in your circle of family and friends that might enjoy this episode, please share it with just one person. It will really help me in growing this hockey community. Again, I appreciate you being here. Don't forget to subscribe. I hope to see you back here soon. And do me a favor, make someone close to you smile today. All the best, my friends.